Your relationships are dying, and you're the one killing them. Every fight that spirals out of control, every silent treatment that stretches for days, every moment you cling so tightly you suffocate what you're trying to save, that's you, systematically destroying your own chance at love. You think it's bad luck, incompatible partners, or timing. But here's the good news. There's a way out. Erich Fromm knew the brutal truth. Most relationships fail because we mistake desperation for devotion, need for love, and dependency for deep connection. But he also discovered the antidote. And if you want to save that relationship, or finally build one that lasts, stay with me. Fromm, the psychologist who dared to call love an art, saw through our romantic delusions. He understood that what we call love is often just two broken people using each other to feel whole, and broken things break other things. This video is for you, the one who's exhausted by the pattern, who's ready to stop building relationships on quicksand and start creating bonds that actually last. Fromm's wisdom isn't about finding the one. It's about becoming someone capable of mature love. But this path demands you shatter every romantic myth you've been fed. Are you ready to discover why your relationships keep failing and learn the art of loving that endures? Let's start with a painful truth. Most of us don't know how to love. We think we do. Society sells us the idea that love is a feeling, a rush of passion that sweeps you off your feet. You meet someone, your heart races, and you're convinced this is it, the one. But Fromm would shake his head. He argued that what we call love is often symbiotic union, a trap where we cling to someone to fill our voids, our loneliness, our insecurities, our need to feel whole. You're not loving them, you're using them, and they're using you, in a dance of mutual dependency disguised as affection. Think about a relationship that failed. Maybe you stayed too long even when it hurt because you couldn't imagine life without them. Maybe you gave up your dreams, your boundaries, your identity, just to keep them close. You called it love, but Fromm would call it dependency. In his book, The Art of Loving, he wrote, "If I love, I care. That is, I am actively concerned with the other person's growth and happiness. Love isn't about needing someone to complete you. It's about choosing to support their freedom even when it's hard." When you mistake dependency for affection, you build a relationship that's fragile, rooted in fear rather than strength. And fragile things break. Why do we fall into this trap? Fromm pointed to our fear of freedom. To love truly, you must stand alone first, whole, independent, unafraid of your own company. But that's terrifying. Being alone means facing your doubts, your flaws, your emptiness. So we run to relationships, seeking someone to save us from ourselves. You latch onto a partner, hoping they'll make you feel worthy, secure, loved. But Fromm warned that this is a recipe for failure. When you depend on someone else for your happiness, you hand them your power. You become clingy, jealous, or controlling, and they either pull away or mirror your neediness. The relationship becomes a tug-of-war, not a partnership. And it crumbles under the weight of unmet expectations. Let's make this real. Picture a relationship where you felt trapped. Maybe you were always checking their phone, terrified they'd leave. Maybe you said yes to things that hurt you, just to avoid a fight. You thought you were showing love, but you were showing fear. Fear of losing them, fear of being alone. Fromm would say this isn't love. It's sadomasochistic union, where one partner dominates and the other submits, both losing their freedom. True love, what Fromm called mature love, is different. It's two whole people, each secure in themselves, choosing to grow together without losing who they are. Dependency suffocates. Mature love liberates. So why is true love so hard to achieve? Fromm believed it starts with self-love. Not the selfish kind, but a deep respect for your own worth. Without self-love, you can't love another. Because you have nothing to give. You're an empty cup expecting someone else to fill you. But here's the catch. Self-love isn't easy. It means facing your insecurities, your shame, the parts of you you've hidden. It means saying, I am enough, even when you don't believe it. Most of us avoid this work, so we seek partners to validate us instead. You pick someone who makes you feel good. But when they falter, when they criticize or drift, you crash, because your worth was tied to them, not you. Fromm's solution is radical. Become whole before you love. This doesn't mean you have to be perfect, but you need to know who you are, your values, your boundaries, your dreams. Imagine a relationship where you don't need your partner to make you happy, because you already are. You don't cling, because you're not afraid to be alone. You don't control, because you trust yourself to survive anything. This is the foundation of mature love. And it's why Fromm said love is an art. Like painting or music, it requires practice, discipline, and a commitment to growth. When you love from wholeness, you create relationships that are strong, flexible, and built to last. But let's go deeper, because Fromm's psychology reveals another reason relationships fail. We fear the responsibility of love. Mature love demands that you care for your partner's growth, not just your own. This means listening, even when it's hard. It means supporting their dreams, even when they differ from yours. It means forgiving their flaws, while holding them accountable. Most of us shy away from this. We want love to be easy, a fairy tale where feelings solve everything. But Fromm would call this childish. Love is work. Beautiful, rewarding work, but work nonetheless. When you avoid that work, when you prioritize your needs over your partner's growth, you sow the seeds of resentment, distance, and collapse. Picture a moment in a past relationship where you could have done better. Maybe you dismissed your partner's feelings because you were too caught up in your own. Maybe you stayed silent when you should have spoken up, letting a small hurt fester into a chasm. Fromm would say these moments matter. Love isn't just grand gestures. It's the small daily choices to show up, to care, to grow together. When you neglect those choices, you're not loving, you're coasting, and coasting leads to failure. Fromm's mature love asks you to be active, to choose your partner every day, not because you need them, but because you value them. Now let's dive into Fromm's vision of love as freedom. In a world obsessed with possession, where we say my partner like we own them, Fromm saw love as the opposite. True love sets your partner free to be themselves, to grow, to change, even if it scares you. But freedom is a double-edged sword. It means you must be free too, free from fear, free from dependency, free to stand alone. This is why most relationships fail. We're not ready for freedom. We want security, control, guarantees. So we build cages, through jealousy, manipulation, or silent resentment, and call it love. But cages don't hold love, they choke it. Fromm's concept of productive love is the antidote. Productive love is active, creative, and focused on growth. It's not about what you get from your partner, but what you create together. A shared life, a shared purpose. Think of a relationship like a garden. It needs care, patience, and space to flourish. If you overwater it with neediness or neglect it with indifference, it withers. Productive means tending the garden daily, through honest communication, mutual respect, and a commitment to each other's freedom. When you love this way, you build a relationship that's not just durable, but alive, growing stronger with every challenge. But there's a shadow side, and Fromm was honest about it. Loving freely means facing your deepest fears. What if they leave? What if they outgrow you? What if you're not enough? These fears drive us to cling, to control, to sabotage. Fromm would say, this is where self-love comes back. When you know your worth, you don't fear loss, because you know you'll survive. You don't need to control, because you trust your partner's freedom. You don't sabotage, because you're committed to growth. Building this strength takes time, and it starts with facing those fears head-on through journaling, therapy, or honest conversations with yourself. So, how do you stop your relationships from failing? Fromm's psychology gives us 5 practical tools to build mature, lasting love. First, cultivate self-love. Spend time alone, reflect on your values, and write down 3 things you respect about yourself. This is your foundation. Second, break dependency. Identify one way you lean too hard on your partner, maybe for validation or security, and take a small step to stand alone, like pursuing a personal goal. Third, practice active care. Each day, do one thing to support your partner's growth: a kind word, a listening ear, a gesture that says, "I see you." Fourth, embrace freedom. Let go of one controlling habit, like checking their phone or demanding constant reassurance. Trust their autonomy and your own. Fifth, commit to growth. Set a shared goal with your partner, maybe a project, a trip, or a new way of communicating, and work on it together. These steps turn love from a feeling into an art, from a trap into a triumph. Let's talk about the world you're up against. Society doesn't teach mature love. It sells you romance, drama, and instant gratification. You're bombarded with images of perfect couples, told that love should be effortless, that dependency is romantic. Fromm saw this as a lie, a way to keep you chasing illusions instead of building real connections. When you choose mature love, you're defying that system. You're saying, "I will not settle for dependency. I will not confuse need with affection." That defiance is powerful, but it's lonely. Friends might mock your boundaries. Family might push you toward safe relationships. The world will tempt you to fall back into old patterns. But Fromm's wisdom is your shield, reminding you that love worth having is love worth working for. Now, let's address the cost, because Fromm's path isn't easy. Building mature love means letting go of the fairy tale. The idea that someone will complete you, that love will solve all your problems. It means facing the pain of standing alone, of loving without guarantees, of choosing growth over comfort. You'll lose relationships, those built on dependency, those that thrive on control, those that can't handle your freedom. That loss will sting, like shedding a part of yourself you've outgrown. But Fromm would call it necessary. In his words, "The task we must set for ourselves is not to feel secure, but to be able to tolerate insecurity." Every loss, every hard choice, every moment you choose mature love is a step toward relationships that endure. But let's talk about what's on the other side, because Fromm's vision is as hopeful as it is challenging. When you master the art of loving, you don't just avoid failure. You create relationships that thrive. You become a magnet for partners who value freedom, who respect your wholeness, who grow with you. You walk into love with a quiet confidence, not because you're perfect, but because you know your worth. Your relationships deepen because they're built on care, not need. Your life becomes a canvas of productive love, painted with shared dreams, honest moments, and unbreakable bonds. This is the love Fromm dreamed of, not a fleeting spark, but a fire that warms you for a lifetime. Imagine a future you. A year from now, you've faced your fears, cultivated self-love, and broken the chains of dependency. You've practiced active care, embraced freedom, and committed to growth, not just in love, but in yourself. You're no longer the person who clings, who controls, who mistakes need for affection. You're a master of mature love, building relationships that are strong, authentic, and alive. You're not just surviving heartbreak, you're creating connections that last, because you've learned to love well. This isn't a fantasy, it's what Fromm's wisdom can build, if you dare to practice it. This journey isn't easy, and it's not meant to be. Fromm wrote, "Love is an act of faith, and whoever is of little faith is also of little love." Every choice to love maturely, every step toward freedom, is an act of faith in yourself, in your partner, in the art of loving. Now let's get practical again, because Fromm's wisdom is meant to be lived. Start today. Pick one relationship, romantic or not, where you feel stuck, and apply one tool from this video. Maybe you cultivate self-love, writing down what makes you enough. Maybe you break dependency, taking a small step to stand alone. Notice how it feels. The fear, the freedom, the spark of strength. That's your art of loving waking up, your path to mature love taking shape. Don't stop at one choice. Make love a practice. Each morning, ask, how can I love better today? Each night, reflect, did I choose growth over need? These small acts, repeated daily, forge relationships that no storm can break. The world will test you. It will tempt you with easy romance, with dependency dressed as love, with the lie that you need someone to be whole. But Fromm's wisdom is your anchor. Every time you choose self-love over need, you're defying the illusion. Every time you care for your partner's growth, you're practicing mature love. Every time you embrace freedom, you're building a love that lasts. This is the art of loving. Not a life without pain, but a life where pain makes your love stronger. This is your moment, right now, to decide. Will you keep chasing dependency, letting your relationships fail? Or will you master the art of loving, forging bonds that endure through freedom and growth? Fromm didn't write for those who want easy answers. He wrote for the artists, the ones who dare to love bravely, to face their fears, to build relationships that thrive. You're here because a part of you is ready to stop mistaking need for affection, ready to love as an art, ready to create connections that last. So, I'm asking you, are you ready to build relationships that won't fail? Something clicked while you were watching this, didn't it? Maybe it was when Fromm talked about the difference between dependency and love, or that moment when you realized you've been building relationships on quicksand. There's probably a line that's still echoing in your head, something that felt like he was speaking directly to your pattern of heartbreak. You can feel it, can't you? That recognition, that uncomfortable truth that you can't unsee now. You're probably already thinking about which insight hit deepest, which tool you want to try first. That urge you're feeling right now, to capture this moment, to not let it slip away like every other relationship video you've watched. That's your signal. The people who actually transform their love lives don't just consume content. They mark the moments when everything shifts. That quote burning in your mind, it wants to be remembered. And if you're feeling that pull towards something deeper, that curiosity about how far this wisdom goes, well, you already know what that means. The momentum is building, and transformation doesn't happen in isolation. You're ready for the next step in mastering the art of love. Subscribe now, because this journey we're on together, it's just getting started. Thank you for having the courage to look deeper, for choosing growth over comfort, for committing to the hard work of authentic connection. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll take another step toward building the relationships and the life you're meant to have.